Tim, the live stream thing is being shared on the screen.
Okay.
There we go. Yeah, I got it.
He forgot he was sharing his screen at the time.
Well, I need about 3 or 4 screens to do all of it at one time. I only have 2. It's working now, though.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon. The June 16, 2022 meeting of the Tennessee State University Board of Trustees is now called to order. Before we get started, we need to make certain findings on the record regarding the necessity for conducting this meeting by electronic participation without a physical quorum present due to the coronavirus pandemic. Board meeting, June 16, 2022, findings for necessity for conducting the board meeting without the physical presence of a quorum. In accordance with Tennessee Code Annotated Section 844-108B2, as chair of the Board of Trustees, I offer the following facts and circumstances in support of a finding of necessity for the Board of Trustees to conduct its June 16, 2022 meeting without the physical presence of a quorum. The board is scheduled to take up important board matters which require timely action by the board, including but not limited to the approval of institutional estimated and proposed budgets, the university's capital construction plan, tenure and promotion recommendations, academic program modifications, and new academic programs, and the approval of a new university policy. The board will also hear important reports on research and sponsored programs, reports from the president and board chair. Participation by electronic means is necessitated by ongoing health and safety issues pertaining to COVID-19 pandemic. Accordingly, I move that the board find that participation by a quorum of the board members by the electronic means of communication is necessary. Is there a second?
Second.
The question is on the motion to find the participation by the board of the quorum of the board members by electronic means of communication is necessary. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Trustee Cole,
Yes.
Trustee Corbill,
Aye.
Trustee Andre Johnson,
Aye.
Trustee William Johnson,
Aye.
Trustee Lewis,
Aye.
Trustee Martin,
Aye.
Trustee McKenzie, Trustee Pinnick,
Aye.
Trustee Walker.
There was an aye from Trustee McKenzie.
Okay. Yes, we have 9 ayes.
Okay, the motion carries. We will proceed with the meeting with a quorum being present. See, at this point, I'd like to acknowledge that we have any THEC individuals that are present? Attorney Pendleton, I'm not seeing, I can't, do you see one? Any?
No.
Okay, very good. And also want to acknowledge that we have our captain members, deans that are also present. But as we will to do the start of this meeting, we're going to ask Dean Stevenson to please give us an indication.
Let us bow. God, we thank you for this space and this opportunity, the blessed opportunity to serve at this institution, Lord. We thank you for our faculty, our students, and our community. We pray that you would just continue to bless us with wisdom as we make decisions. We pray that you would protect our students. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Dean Stevens. Okay, as you'll note in your board materials for today's meeting, we have several items on the agenda today. But before we go to the next item that's listed on the agenda, I want to ask, no, I'm sorry, we need to do a roll call for declaration of a quorum for this meeting, do we not, Secretary Pendleton?
Yes.
Okay, so would you please call the roll?
Yes. Trustee Cole,
Present.
Trustee Corbill,
Here.
Trustee Andre Johnson,
Aye.
Trustee William Johnson,
Here.
Trustee Lewis,
Here.
Trustee Martin,
Here.
Trustee McKenzie,
Here.
Trustee Pinnick,
Present.
Trustee Walker. We have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. Board members, if you cannot hear or speak to the other board members, please state so now. For each board member participating electronically, please identify any individuals who are present in the location for which you are participating. Before we go into the first agenda item, I'd like to turn the meeting over to Trustee Pam Martin at this time.
Actually, you first going to the March 17th.
You want, after we approve the minutes, you want me to, at that time?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
very good. The first action item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of March 17, 2022 board meeting. You have in your June 16, 2022 board materials, minutes for the March 17, 2022 board meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the March 17, 2022 board meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second. Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve the minutes of the March 17, 2022 board meeting as contained in the board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Trustee Cole,
Aye.
trustee Corbill,
Aye.
trustee Johnson, trustee
Aye.
Andre Johnson, sorry, trustee William Johnson,
Aye.
trustee Lewis,
Aye.
trustee Barton,
Aye.
trustee McKenzie,
Aye.
trustee Pinnick,
Aye.
trustee Walker. Trustee Walker. Okay. I see you vote in the affirmative with your thing. So we have nine ayes.
Okay, the motion is approved. I'm saying at this point in time, I will turn it over to trustee Pam Martin.
Thank you, Chair Cole. Pursuant to the board's audit committee charter, board policy, and state law, the board established an audit committee. The audit committee members serve a 2-year term, and the audit committee chair serves a 1-year term. To ensure compliance with the state law and the board committee charter, I am recommending the reappointment of Trustee Cole to serve another 1-year term as chair of the audit committee. Trustee Cole has been committed and effective chair of this very important audit committee. I move to appoint Trustee Cole to serve as chair of the audit committee for another 1-year term. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the questions on the motion to approve Trustee Cole to serve as chair of the audit committee for another 1-year term. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Trustee Cole. Trustee Corbill.
Aye.
Trustee Andre Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee William Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Lewis.
Aye.
Trustee Martin.
Aye.
Trustee McKenzie.
Aye.
Trustee Pinnick.
Aye.
Trustee Walker. Okay, we have eight yeses.
Well, actually, I did vote, Secretary Pendleton, but I had the microphone turned off when you called my name. I do apologize.
Okay.
All right.
Let me send that.
Thank you. The motion is approved. Chair Cole, we appreciate you chairing this committee for us. Thank you.
And thank you for the reappointment to the fellow trustees. I appreciate your confidence. The next item on the agenda is the appointment of the student trustee. Pursuant to the Focus Act, the Tennessee State University student shall serve as a non-voting member, student member of the board. The board shall appoint the non-voting member to serve a term of 1 year. In preparing for the board appointment of the student trustee for the 2020 through 2021, I think that should be 20.
Actually, 2022, 2023.
2022, yeah. Fiscal year, and pursuant to the institution's student trustee recommendation process, the Tennessee State University Student Government Association solicited and conducted a preliminary review of the candidates and forwarded 3 candidates for further consideration. The board secretary and associate vice president of student affairs then met with the finalist candidates and made a recommendation to the president for interviews. President Glover conducted interviews for the recommended candidates. At the conclusion of the recommendation process, President Glover decided to recommend the appointment of Mr. Sean Wimberly to serve as student trustee. Mr. Wimberly will be a junior in the fall 2022 semester. He is pursuing a Bachelor of Agricultural Science degree in agribusiness and holds a 3.7 grade point average. Excuse me. He he serves as a brand ambassador for the Men's Initiative, and among his many awards and honors, he received the National Academy of Future Scientists and Technologists Award of Excellence. I move to appoint Mr. Sean Wimberly to serve a one-year term as student trustee on the TSU Board of Trustees. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to appoint Sean Wimberly to serve a one-year term as student trustee on the TSU Board of Trustees. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Trustee Cole,
Aye.
trustee Corbill,
Aye.
trustee Andre Johnson,
Aye.
trustee William Johnson,
Aye.
trustee Lewis,
Aye.
trustee Martin,
Aye.
trustee McKenzie,
Aye.
trustee Pinnick,
Aye.
trustee Walker. Okay. You're voting in the affirmative, trustee Walker. All right, we have 9 ayes.
Okay, so the motion carries. The motion is approved. Mr. Wimberly, would you like to make a few comments of the appointment? I can't see, is he there?
Yeah, can you see me?
Yes, I see.
Yes, you've already introduced me pretty well. So I'll just say, first thing, thank you all for the work that you all have done on behalf of TSU in the recent years. And I look forward to working with you all this academic school year.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Wimberly, for your comments. The board looks forward to your service and working with you on the board and the board committee matters. We will give trustee Thomas a proper thank you and send off at the next board meeting, as she is out of the country and unable to participate in today's meeting. The next item on the agenda is the audit committee report. The chair, I will recognize myself. I'm the chair of the audit committee, and I'll report on the actions and other items from today's audit committee meeting. The audit committee met today to act on 2 items and receive reports on 3 items. The audit committee voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the March 17, 2022 audit committee meeting minutes. The audit committee also voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the fiscal year 2022 through 2023 audit plan. In addition, the audit committee reviewed and discussed the annual report on the audit office's audit activities, the audit office's internal quality assessment, and the outstanding audit issues. As I stated, the audit committee voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the minutes of the March 17, 2022 audit committee meeting. You have in your June 16, 2022 board materials the minutes of the March 17, 2022 audit committee. On behalf of the audit committee, I move to approve the minutes of the March 17, 2022 audit committee meeting as contained in the board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve the minutes for the March 17, 2022 audit committee meeting as contained in the board materials for June 16, 2022 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Trustee Cole,
Aye.
trustee Corbill,
Aye.
trustee Andre Johnson,
Aye.
trustee William Johnson,
Aye.
trustee Lewis,
Aye.
trustee Martin,
Aye.
trustee McKenzie,
Aye.
trustee Pinnick,
Aye.
trustee Walker. He is giving an affirmative yes.
The motion is approved. As I stated, the audit committee also voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the fiscal year 2022-2023 audit plan. You have in your June 16, 2022 board materials for this agenda item. On behalf of the audit committee, I move to approve the fiscal year 2022-2023 audit plan as contained in the board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve the fiscal year 2022-2023 audit plan as contained in the board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Trustee Cole,
Aye.
trustee Corbill,
Aye.
trustee Andre Johnson,
Aye.
trustee William Johnson,
Aye.
trustee Lewis,
Aye.
Trustee Martin,
Aye.
Trustee McKenzie,
Aye.
Trustee Pinnick,
Aye.
Trustee Walker. He's signaling aye. We have 9 ayes.
Okay, the motion is approved. This concludes the audit committee's report. Before I go into the next item on the agenda, I want to say that the work on these committees is done in committee meetings. There's a lot of work done. It does not come off as simple as you see us reading from the script and telling what was summarized. There's a lot of work that is done in each committee meeting. I make every attempt to attend every committee, and I see the work that is done. So I want to thank the fellow trustees for all the work that they put through in those particular committees, and the staff for all the assistance that you provide also. The next item on the agenda is the Finance and Budget Committee report. The chair recognizes the Finance and Budget Committee Chair, Trustee Lewis, who will report the action and information items from today's Finance and Budget Committee meeting.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Finance and Budget Committee met today to act on 5 items and receive reports on 4 items. The Finance and Budget Committee voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the March 17th, 2022 Finance and Budget Committee meeting minutes, approval of the fiscal year 2022 to 2023 compensation percent increase, approval of the fiscal year 2022, 2023 non-mandatory fees increase, the housing fee approval for fiscal year 2022, 2023 non-mandatory health science fee, approval of the institutional estimated budget, approval of the institutional proposed budget, and approval of university's fiscal year 23, 250 million capital construction plan. Additionally, President Glover and her team provided reports on the capital construction public-private partnership for resident halls, update on the CARES Act funds, the Finance and Budget Committee Finance and Budget report on a report on enrollment and a report on enrollment. As I stated earlier, Finance and Budget Committee voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the minutes of March 17, 2022 Finance and Budget Committee meetings. You have in your June 16, 2022 board material, the materials for March 17, 22 Finance and Budget Committee meetings. On behalf of the Finance and Budget Committee, I move to approve the minutes of March 17, 2022 Finance and Budget Committee meeting as contained in the board material for the June 16, 2022 board meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve the minutes of the March 17, 2022 Finance and Budget Committee meetings as contained in the board material for the June 16, 2022 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Trustee Cole,
Aye.
Trustee Corbell,
Aye.
Trustee Andre Johnson,
Aye.
Trustee William Johnson,
Aye.
Trustee Lewis,
Aye.
Trustee Martin,
Aye.
Trustee McKenzie,
Aye.
Trustee Pinnick,
Aye.
Trustee Walker. We have 9 ayes.
Okay, the motion is approved.
As noted earlier, the Finance and Budget Committee voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the institution fiscal year 2022 to 23 compensation plan, 6% increase. The material for this agenda item are contained in your June 16th board materials. On behalf of the Finance and Budget Committee, I move to approve the institution's fiscal year 2022 to 2023 compensation plan as contained in the board materials for June 16th, 2022 board meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve the institution's fiscal year 2022-2023 compensation plan as contained in the board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Trustee Cole,
Aye.
trustee Corbill.
Aye.
Trustee Andre Johnson,
Aye.
trustee William Johnson,
Aye.
trustee Lewis,
Aye.
trustee Martin,
Aye.
trustee McKenzie,
Aye.
trustee Pinnick,
Aye.
trustee Walker,
Aye.
9 ayes.
The motion is approved.
The Finance and Budget Committee also voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the fiscal year 2022-2023 non-mandatory housing fee. If you have in your June 16, 2022 board material information for the agenda item. On behalf of the Finance and Budget Committee, I move to approve the fiscal year 2022-2023 non-mandatory housing fee increase as contained in the board materials for the June 16th meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve the fiscal year 2022-2023 non-mandatory housing fee increases contained in the board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Trustee Cole,
Aye.
trustee Corbill,
Aye.
trustee Andre Johnson,
Aye.
trustee William Johnson,
Aye.
trustee Lewis,
Aye.
trustee Martin,
Aye.
trustee McKenzie,
Aye.
trustee Pinnick,
Aye.
trustee Walker,
Aye.
9 ayes.
The motion is approved.
The Finance and Budget Committee also voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the fiscal year 2022-23 non-mandatory health science fee. You have in your June 16th, 2022 board material information for this agenda item. On behalf of the Finance and Budget Committee, I move to approve the fiscal year 2022-2023 non-mandatory health science fee as contained in the board material for the June 16, 2022 board meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve the fiscal year 2022-2023 non-mandatory health science fee as contained in the board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Trustee Cole,
Aye.
trustee Corbill,
Aye.
trustee Andre Johnson,
Aye.
trustee William Johnson,
Aye.
trustee Lewis,
Aye.
trustee Martin,
Aye.
trustee McKenzie,
Aye.
trustee Pinnick,
Aye.
trustee Walker.
Aye.
We have 9 ayes. I just want to make sure, I mean, I lost it in the materials, but there was first the voting on the housing fee, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The Finance and Budget Committee also voted to recommend to the full
Just a
board.
minute, I'm sorry, trustee Lewis, the motion is approved. The past motion, I need to approve that one. I'm sorry.
The Finance and Budget Committee also voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the estimated institutional budget, which reflect the estimated budget for fiscal year 2021 to 2022. You have in your June 16th, 2022 board material information for this agenda item. On behalf of the Finance and Budget Committee, I move to approve the estimated institutional budget as contained in the board materials for June 16th, 2022 board meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve the estimated institutional budget as contained in the board material for the June 16, 2022 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Trustee Cole,
Aye.
trustee Corbell,
Aye.
trustee Johnson, Andre Johnson,
Aye.
trustee William Johnson,
Aye.
trustee Lewis,
Aye.
trustee Martin,
Aye.
trustee McKenzie,
Aye.
trustee Pinnick,
Aye.
trustee Walker.
Aye.
9 ayes.
Okay, the motion is approved. Dr. Glover, would you like to make any comments relative to the approval we just had on the estimated institutional budget?
Not necessarily on the budget, but I did want to just thank the board for approving. I want to express my appreciation to the board for approving the faculty and staff salary increase. The 6% is probably historic for our university. It is to reward the faculty and staff for how hard they worked during these challenging times, these uncertain times, and still unprecedented times. So we can't pay everybody what they're worth, but we can try to start making it happen as much as we can. Last year we did a little over 4%, along with an extra pay. This year we're doing 6%. We're just trying to make our faculty and staff more competitive. And so we thank them and to show our appreciation for the hard work they've done. So thank you all again for making it happen.
Okay.
Madam Cole, are you ready for me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The Finance and Budget Committee also voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the proposed institutional budget, which reflect the proposed budget for fiscal year 2022 and 23. You have in your June 16, 2022 board material information for this agenda item. Any comments or discussion? None being heard at this time. On behalf of the Finance and Budget Committee, I move to approve the proposed institutional budget as contained in the board materials for June 16, 2022 board meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve the proposed institutional budget as contained in the budget material for the June 16, 2022 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Trustee Cole,
Aye.
trustee Corbell,
Aye.
trustee Andre Johnson,
Aye.
trustee William Johnson,
Aye.
trustee Lewis,
Aye.
trustee Martin,
Aye.
trustee McKenzie,
Aye.
trustee Pinnick,
Aye.
trustee Walker.
Aye.
9 ayes.
The motion is approved.
In its final action item, the Finance and Budget Committee voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the institution's fiscal year 2022-2023 $250 million capital construction plan. The materials for this agenda item are contained in your June 16, 2022 board materials. On behalf of the Finance and Budget Committee, I move to approve the institution's fiscal year 2022-23 $250 million capital construction plan as contained in the board material for June 16, 2022 board meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve the institution's fiscal year 2022-2023 $250 million capital construction plan as contained in the board materials for the June 16, 2022 meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Trustee Cole,
Aye.
trustee Corbill,
Aye.
trustee Andre Johnson,
Aye.
trustee William Johnson,
Aye.
trustee Lewis,
Aye.
trustee Martin,
Aye.
trustee McKenzie,
Aye.
trustee Pinnick,
Aye.
trustee Walker.
Aye.
There are 9 ayes.
Okay, the motion is approved.
Madam Chair, I think that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you, trustee Lewis. I'd like to thank you for your leadership on that committee. And I'd like to thank the other members for the admirable service that they provide to this committee. The next item on the agenda is the Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee report. The chair recognizes the Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee Chair, Trustee Martin, to report out the action items and other items from today's Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee meeting.
Thank you, Chair Cole. The Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee met today to consider and vote on 8 agenda items and to receive reports on 5 other agenda items. Information regarding these items are in your materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting. The Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the March 17, 2022 Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee meeting minutes, approval of the academic year 2021-2022 tenure and promotion recommendations, approval of the updated international admissions policy, and approval of new academic programs, minor in design with existing BS in art, approval of a new academic concentration, multidisciplinary studies within the existing BS Arts and Science program. The committee also voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the academic program modifications, approval of new admission standards, Doctor of Physical Therapy, approval of a name change for an existing program, change current Masters of Science in Psychology program to Masters of Science in Counseling, and approval of name change for an existing concentration, change current counseling psychology concentration within the Masters of Science in Psychology program to clinical mental health counseling concentration. The Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee also received reports on the PhD of Agricultural Science, SACS accreditation matters, research and sponsored programs, academic affairs, and student affairs. As I stated earlier, the Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the minutes of the March 17, 2022 Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee meeting as contained in your board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting. On behalf of the Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee, I move to approve the minutes of the March 17, 2022 Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee meeting as contained in your board materials for June 16, 2022 board meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve the minutes for the March 17, 2022 Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee meeting as contained in the board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Excuse me. Trustee Cole, trustee Corbill,
Aye.
trustee Andre Johnson,
Aye.
trustee William Johnson,
Aye.
trustee Lewis,
Aye.
trustee Martin,
Aye.
trustee McKenzie,
Aye.
trustee Pinnick,
Aye.
trustee Walker.
Aye.
9 ayes.
Okay, the motion is approved.
The Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the 2021-2022 tenure and promotion recommendations. The information pertaining this agenda item is contained in your board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting. On behalf of the Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee, I move to approve the 2021 2022 tenure and promotion recommendations as contained in board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve the 2021-2022 tenure and promotion recommendations as contained in board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Trustee Cole,
Aye.
trustee Corbell,
Aye.
trustee Andre Johnson,
Aye.
trustee William Johnson,
Aye.
trustee Lewis,
Aye.
trustee Martin,
Aye.
trustee McKenzie,
Aye.
trustee Pinnick,
Aye.
trustee Walker,
Aye.
9 ayes.
The motion is approved.
As I mentioned earlier, the Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the updated international admissions policy. On behalf of the Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee, I move to approve the updated international admissions policy as contained in your board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve the updated international admissions policy as contained in the board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Trustee Cole,
Aye.
trustee Corbell,
Aye.
trustee Andre Johnson,
Aye.
trustee William Johnson,
Aye.
trustee Lewis,
Aye.
trustee Martin,
Aye.
trustee McKenzie,
Aye.
trustee Pinnick,
Aye.
trustee Walker,
Aye.
9 ayes.
The motion is approved.
The Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee also voted to recommend to the full board the approval of a new academic program, minor in design within existing BS in art. On behalf of the Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee, I move to approve a new academic program, minor in design within existing BS in art as contained in your board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve a new academic program, minor in design with existing BS in arts as contained in board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Trustee Cole,
Aye.
trustee Corbell,
Aye.
trustee Andre Johnson,
Aye.
trustee William Johnson,
Aye.
trustee Lewis,
Aye.
trustee Martin,
Aye.
trustee McKenzie,
Aye.
trustee Pinnick,
Aye.
trustee Walker,
Aye.
9 ayes.
The motion is approved.
The Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee also voted to recommend to the full board the approval of a new academic program concentration, multidisciplinary studies within the existing BS Arts and Science program. On behalf of the Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee, I move to approve the new academic program concentration, multidisciplinary studies within the existing BS Arts and Science program as contained in your board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve a new academic program, multidisciplinary studies within the existing BS Arts and Science program as contained in the board material for the June 16, 2022.
Second.
Dr.
We
Cool.
can't hear. Something happened.
Okay. I wasn't able to hear you. I'm sorry. I'm back now.
Okay, we're just looking for you to complete it. Trustee Corbill, I believe, had seconded it.
Okay. Okay, so he had seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve the new academic program, multidisciplinary studies within the existing BS Arts and Science program as contained in board materials for June 16, 2022 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Trustee Cole,
Aye.
Trustee Corbill,
Aye.
Trustee Andre Johnson,
Aye.
Trustee William Johnson,
Aye.
Trustee Lewis,
Aye.
Trustee Martin,
Aye.
Trustee McKenzie, Trustee McKenzie,
Aye.
okay. Trustee Pinnick,
Aye.
Trustee Walker, Trustee Walker,
Aye.
we have 9 ayes.
The motion is approved.
The Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee also voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the new admission standards, Doctor of Physical Therapy. On behalf of the Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee, I move to approve the new admission standards, Doctor of Physical Therapy as contained in board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve the new admission standards, Doctor of Physical Therapy, as contained in the board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Trustee Cole,
Aye.
Trustee Corbill,
Aye.
Trustee Andre Johnson,
Aye.
Trustee William Johnson,
Aye.
Trustee Lewis,
Aye.
Trustee Martin,
Aye.
Trustee McKenzie,
Aye.
Trustee Pinnick,
Aye.
Trustee Walker,
Aye.
9 ayes.
The motion is approved.
The Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee also voted to recommend to the full board the approval of a name change for an existing program. Change current Masters of Science in Psychology program to Masters of Science in Counseling. On behalf of the Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee, I move to approve the name change for an existing program. Change current Masters of Science in Psychology program to Masters of Science in Counseling as contained in board materials for your June 16, 2022 board meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve a name change for an existing program. Change current Masters of Science in Psychology program to Masters of Science in Counseling as contained in the board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Trustee Cole,
Aye.
Trustee Corbill,
Aye.
Trustee Andre Johnson,
Aye.
Trustee William Johnson,
Aye.
Trustee Lewis,
Aye.
Trustee Martin,
Aye.
Trustee McKenzie,
Aye.
Trustee Pinnick,
Aye.
Trustee Walker,
Aye.
9 ayes.
The motion is approved.
The Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee also voted to recommend to the full board the approval of a name change for an existing program. Change current counseling psychology concentration within the Masters of Science in Psychology program to clinical mental health counseling concentration. On behalf of the Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee, I move to approve a name change for the existing program. Change current counseling psychology concentration within the Masters of Science in Psychology program to clinical mental health counseling concentration as contained in your board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve a name change for an existing program. Change current counseling psychology concentration within the Masters of Science in Psychology program to clinical mental health counseling concentration as contained in the board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Trustee Cole,
Aye.
Trustee Corbill,
Aye.
trustee Andre Johnson,
Aye.
trustee William Johnson,
Aye.
trustee Lewis,
Aye.
trustee Martin,
Aye.
trustee McKenzie,
Aye.
trustee Pinnick,
Aye.
trustee Walker,
Aye.
9 ayes.
The motion is approved.
Chair Cole, that concludes the Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee report. Thank you.
Trustee Martin, I'd like to thank you for the tremendous leadership that you provide to the Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee, and to you and your committee as a whole for the amount of time you all spend digesting this information. And each meeting, you all have a tremendous amount of information to look over. So again, I thank you for your service on that committee. The next item on the agenda is the Executive Committee report. As the chair of the board and chair of the Executive Committee, I will report the action and information items from today's Executive Committee meeting. The Executive Committee met today to discuss and vote on 3 action items and hear reports on 2 items. The Executive Committee voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the March 17, 2022 Executive Committee meeting minutes, approval of salary adjustment payment for President Glover, and approval of delegation of authority to the board chair to execute amendment number 1 to the President's employment agreement. The Executive Committee also heard a report on the President's annual performance review and a report from Secretary Pendleton. As I stated, the Executive Committee voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the minutes of the March 17, 2022 Executive Committee meeting as contained in the board material for the June 16, 2022 board meeting. On behalf of the Executive Committee, I move to approve the minutes of the March 17, 2022 Executive Committee meeting as contained in the board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve the minutes of the March 17, 2022 Executive Committee meeting as contained in the board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Cole,
Aye.
trustee Corbill,
Aye.
trustee Andre Johnson,
Aye.
trustee William Johnson,
Aye.
trustee Lewis,
Aye.
trustee Martin,
Aye.
trustee McKenzie,
Aye.
trustee Pinnick,
Aye.
trustee Walker.
Aye.
With we have a majority of ayes, so the motion is approved. As I stated, the Executive Committee voted to recommend to the full board the approval of a salary adjustment payment for President Glover as contained in the board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting. On behalf of the Executive Committee, I move to approve a salary adjustment payment for President Glover as contained in the board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve a salary adjustment payment for President Glover as contained in the board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Trustee Cole,
Aye.
trustee Corbill,
Aye.
trustee Andre Johnson,
Aye.
trustee William Johnson,
Aye.
trustee Lewis,
Aye.
trustee Martin,
Aye.
trustee McKenzie,
Aye.
trustee Pinnick,
Aye.
trustee Walker.
Aye.
9 ayes.
Thank you. That motion is approved. And I'd just like to make a comment here in that I want to thank the Executive Committee for the work and it's put on. And as a matter of fact, this meeting, we had almost, I think, all board members in attendance. I thank you for the work that was done. I want to acknowledge the fact that in all aspects, we think Tennessee State University must be competitive in the course it offers, competitive in getting students, and therefore we must be competitive in taking care and compensating our president. So therefore, we did an extensive search just so that I want to make sure everyone knows relative to information as it relates to other historically Black colleges and universities, other universities that were formerly in Tennessee Board of Regents that are now under their own boards. Looked at the information, wanted to make sure that we were on track, and that's the approval was granted. I think that if we go look into various venues, we'll always see Dr. Glover's name there. We do thank her for her presence on the national scene. Tremendous accomplishments with the Vice President being here, the fundraising efforts that she has done. So we felt that it was time that we look and that we make sure that we compensate her, just as we also feel that we have to look and compensate our faculty and staff that we have. So Dr. Glover, we thank you. I told you in the meeting, I've said to everyone, in order to be a leader, you must be able to serve. You have done both very well. And we thank you for your leadership in of this great institution.
Thank you.
All right, let's see. Okay. All right, as I stated, the executive committee voted to recommend to the full board the approval of delegation of authority to the board chair to execute amendment number 1 to the president's employment agreement as contained in the board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting. The vote came after the committee and the other members of the board discussed the amendment and needed to ensure that President Glover's compensation package remained consistent with presidents at other HBCU institutions and former TBR institutions. On behalf of the executive committee, I move to approve delegation authority to the board chair to execute amendment number 1 to the president's employment agreement as contained in the board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting. And I gave you information on how we went gone about that just before I introduce the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the questions on the motion to approve delegation of authority to the board chair to execute amendment number 1 to the president's employment agreement as contained in the board materials for the June 16, 2022 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Trustee Cole,
Aye.
trustee Corbill,
Aye.
trustee Andre Johnson,
Aye.
trustee William Johnson,
Aye.
trustee Lewis,
Aye.
trustee Martin,
Aye.
trustee McKenzie,
Aye.
trustee Pinnick,
Aye.
trustee Walker.
Aye.
9 ayes.
The motion is approved. To each one of the executive committee members and other board members that were there, I appreciate your contributions to this subject as we were discussing it, and to coming up with a finalized document that you have now approved. And again, Dr. Glover, we appreciate your leadership.
Thank you.
Where am I now? Okay, the next item on the agenda is a report on research and sponsored programs. The chair recognizes President Glover, who will provide information regarding the agenda item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you to the board. I'm going to call on Dr. Quincy Quick to make a quick report on this.
It's been a long day. I know everybody wants to go through this. So thank you, Chair Cole. Good afternoon, trustees, President Glover, cabinet members, faculty, and staff. Tennessee State University reached a historical level last year with a total of $70.7 million in grants and contracts received from various funding agencies and sponsors. This fiscal year, there have been 215 grant awards submitted with 141 funded for a total of $67,285,888, which actually represents the second highest total awarded in grants and contracts at Tennessee State University to date. This also represents a 13% increase over the average amount of grant awards for the prior 4 years. Numerous faculty and staff contributed to this productivity, and they include Dr. Anita Magaha in the Office of Disability Services, who received a grant award for a certificate program for intellectually developmental disabled students, which is the only HBCU that offers such a program. Also, Dr. Kimberly Smith, the Director of the Center of Excellence in Learning Sciences, and her staff in the Division of Research and Sponsored Programs procured state and federal awards totaling approximately $18 million. Dr. Chandra Reddy, Deidre Young, William Sutton, and the College of Agriculture also received a center grant for $1.9 million from the USDA to establish a Center of Excellence in Natural Resources, Renewable Energy, and the Environment. And I think just as a quick note, we actually expect this performance to continue, at least an outperformance to continue into fiscal year 2022-2023. And this is essentially based on the number of grants submitted in the last 6 months of fiscal year 2022, which was at 92, as compared to that in fiscal year 2021, where there was only 62. And so this represented actually a 48% increase in the number of grants submitted the last 6 months of this fiscal year as compared to fiscal year 2021. And I think lastly, in an effort to achieve the new goal and target of 150 million, the Office of Research and Sponsor Programs will continue to support research efforts of faculty and staff by continuing to award many seed grants and by providing more robust and targeted faculty development for departments, colleges, administrative units that have not traditionally received research grants, contracts, and awards. Thanks, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Quick, and we're very proud of the direction in which this research and sponsor programs are moving. Dr. Glover, would you like to have any comments in this area?
Well, no, not anymore. Thank you.
Okay. At this point in time, the next item on the agenda is the President's report. The chair recognizes President Glover and will provide she will provide a report at this time.
Thank you, Board. Thank you. This is the President's report. The news continues to be good. Both undergraduate and graduate enrollment is up. We discussed our Carnegie Classification. We looking at the path to R1. I mentioned it's going to take a number, at least 2 cycles. Cycles of 3 years each, where they analyze the schools and see where we stand. So we're trying to get new programs based largely, it says research, but it is research partially, but it's based largely on the number of degrees, PhD degrees offered in certain areas. So we're working on getting those new programs together so that we can compete at our R1 level. So we got a committee together that's looking at how to get to R1. So then back to research funding. We had a historic high in research funding last year. We're trying to match it this year. We may fall just a little short, but we're still in the range of last year. We're so happy the governor included TSU in his budget recommendation this year. There's more about that later. Both the House and the Senate voted in favor of this funding, and then the governor signed it on June 1. So we're happy about that. Then the final big news that Vice President Kamala Harris was our commencement speaker, and she did an amazing job, and we're just proud about that. Next. So the agenda just talk about what we did this spring, recruitment and enrollment, a little bit more about the grants, the research and corporate giving, Carnegie Classification, and then the status of the budget. Okay. Next. So we were in person and online last semester. We're announcing today that we're back in person, everyone, July 1, to go back in person. Well, there may be some special circumstances that we have to get permission from the department head. The May classes were held, they went well. Some schools now started, and we're still closely monitoring the Delta variant, the monkey variant, the monkeypox, Omicron, and then the recent surge in COVID-19. So we still wear a mask for those who choose to. It's no longer a requirement. They can wear a mask inside or outside if they choose. But we're still encouraging students to wash their hands and employees frequently. We have the telecounseling servicing. We have regular and routine testing as anyone who wants to get tested can, and we have home tests available also. I just mentioned that we still maintain the plexiglass shields for those who are meeting the public who come to our offices. Again, this aggressive testing we're still doing. Anyone who wants to get tested can. And if we test positive, we got some procedures for you to go through if you test positive. Next. We're still encouraging vaccinations. A lot of our students have been vaccinated, 2/3 of them on campus, and then a lot of the faculty, over 80% of the faculty have been vaccinated staff. So we're real pleased with that number. Next. Let's go to recruitment enrollment. Went over these numbers before. That last year we did go back up to our over 8,000 number that we think that we're going to maintain, 8,077. So we're looking at around 8,100 for this fall. We're not sure if it's larger than that. We have it appears to be a large incoming freshman class. But of course, you never know until they register and pay their money. So who's going to be included in the number this year? But we are hopeful that the enrollment will be up, will maintain the same level. We've strategically realigned admission and recruitment so that we can better serve our students and then get things out on time. That's in the application process. We've automated the web process and transcript submission. We've done a lot of key changes in that area. So, and we have more virtual visits. We have a lot of in-person visits. And more digital recruitment and the more events for students and their families, their parents. And we improve customer service. We have a ways to go still. We have started improving our customer service and with different accountability measures. And then we increase those scholarships. As we know, students go to school, return to school, select a school based on the amount of funding that's available to them. So we have increased our scholarships available to the students, first year and returning students, and we put together the packages, strategic packages, so that students can choose TSU and will, they choose us, then will come to TSU. So we concentrate a large part of Tennessee students and for those who are in the 250-mile radius to get that discount. And then we still depend a lot on the college, the Common Black College application, we get more students from them. So then we analyze the intent to enroll form, because students send us that form, then we try to look at that form and see who's really going to come. It's a good predictor of who's going to attend TSU. The markets we're pursuing, we're still pursuing the first year students and make sure we get the across the board section. We make sure we touch every high school. We don't physically visit every high school, but we do touch every high school in the state through career fairs, through other ways, but we don't necessarily go physically to every school in the state on that campus. The next market is returning students in the graduate school, the community colleges with the dual enrollment plan, the non-traditional students, the veterans, and then we have a new international program. We named Dr. Arlene Phillips to do a lot of recruiting to work with Dr. Wynn, Jill Wynn on there. So the two of them are doing some amazing things with international students. Now for the dual enrollment, you can see we have all the in-state schools we have agreements with, and so we've added to that Monrovia in Liberia and Nassau. We have those partners, enrollment partners with us now. Next. There's a new facilities on campus. We mentioned before last year, after the board meeting, we had the ribbon cutting of the new health sciences building. It's worked out to be an amazing building. Then we have 2 new residence halls scheduled to open in a few months, this fall, in August, as a matter of fact. Then we have some more infrastructure in the governor's budget that we're looking at. Some more housing down the road, looking at a new library, some more ag buildings. There are many things included in the governor's budget we're siphoning through now. We're going to go after, won't be in this year, but we will actually see those benefits. We at least are starting on this year. And facilities, we made several repairs across the campus. We've improved the perimeter road. We've improved some lighting, some upgrades on campus. We maintain the grounds. We have a TSU alum, Mr. Dwight Beard, who is just doing an amazing job keeping the university, the grounds just looking gorgeous, pretty. You can sell cleanliness and you can sell how a school looks. And that's why we have a lot of students interested in TSU. When they come up here, their interest is enhanced when they see the campus. It's more the grants and research. We said a lot about that. It's just the numbers that Dr. Quick went over a few minutes ago. We were 70 million last year, 7.7. This year we're at 67.2, and we're still growing. We still have 2 more weeks left in this month. Next, corporate giving is still up. We got Lowe's in yellow. They're the last one that gave us $1 million. This is $1 million list for last year. I guess it was really 18 months. Well, it came in last year, some of it. So we're saying this is that $1 million list that we have. And so then Lowe's came in earlier this year, I think last month, the latest in $1 million. There are several that gave 250, 300. I think one in here gave 100,000. Most of the others in here gave $500,000, 250, 300. So these are larger. Again, we're still going after more and more. We've hired an expert, Lenita Thomas, who's just doing an amazing job. Her plan already is very strategic and just incredible. So we appreciate that. You can see on that list, former trustee Bill Freeman continue to support TSU and to support us and to support us with funds also. Now, as for the governor's budget, I mentioned it earlier, it's worth repeating. He included $250 million in this budget for infrastructure. That was $60 million for the engineering building, another $8 million for maintenance. And then the bill was signed by Governor Bill Lee on June 1, 2022. That was a historic day. That's the day that we're all appreciative. We're so appreciative of, and we've already started on this work on these funds. We can skip the Carnegie Research Task. We've already gone over that one. Go to the next one. So one of the points I'm really excited about was the vintages. The vintages really showed out this year. A vintage is anyone who's been out 40 years or more. And we celebrated also those who graduated 50 years ago. So you can see the vintages up front. A lot of the vintagers are in this, well, a lot of these folks in the graduating class are vintages also. They raised $2,846,958. That's $2.8 million they raised and turned over to TSU for us to use for students and student success. So we are very pleased about that, $2.8 million. So we thank the vintagers, we thank Alumni Affairs, we thank them for the work they've done. So we're just very appreciative, and we work together. I'd ask for a round of applause. But virtually, we can still give them a virtual round of applause. Our vintagers got to raise that much money for us. So thank you to the vintagers. For the next one or two slides, that I guess everybody around the world knows that Kamala Harris was the spring commencement speaker. I didn't mention Friday night. We also had the mayor of Birmingham as our speaker, who did a great job. These charts that shows how Kamala Harris was so personable with the students, and her speech was so amazing. This in the bottom, she's saying I'm a model with us because we gave an honorary degree, and she's now a TSU Tiger. So let's go to the last one, the next chart. So here we have her interaction with the students. She was taking pictures with the students. She was doing selfies with the students, and she stood on stage and took a picture with everybody who walked across the stage. She stood there and took almost 600 pictures with students. I think the first few that walked across weren't aware that she was taking pictures, so we missed out on those. But other than those few, she just stood there and took pictures. I changed shoes. She didn't. As we took pictures and shook hands with everybody and tried to hold a conversation with as many as she possibly could. So I think that was more than special, going beyond the call of duty. So we appreciate that, and we're very happy that she could come and take pictures with all of us and just greet the TSU family. I think there's one more picture. I thought that was a special picture to have the TSU Board of Trustees to take a picture with the Vice President. And so there you are. I see all of you. We asked Bill Freeman to join you in that picture, because he had been instrumental in doing several things for us and had been just recently retiring. We call him a retiring trustee. So that's the last part of this that's the last chart in this presentation to show the board member we will get that to you. So close by telling you we're celebrating 110 years, June 19th. So happy birthday, celebrate 110 years to Tennessee State University. Thank you all very much. That is the president's report.
Thank you, Dr. Glover, for that fantastic report. And I agree with you 100%, Vice President Harris was tremendous in her visit there. I did forget to do one thing when I finished, charge it to my head and not my heart. Dr. Walker, I need to thank you for the tremendous amount of work that you did, one, in leading the evaluation process and working with us on that committee, and I failed to do that. So thank you so very much. The other thing is that, and I'll be very quick, I did get a chance to see the Dr. Levi Watkins students in action. They were fantastic, and they looked just tremendous in their white coats with Tennessee State University embroidered on it. It was absolutely beautiful. Our trustee, student trustee, Trustee Simpson is not with us at this meeting. We will provide her with the proper thank yous at a later point in time. But I think I can say on behalf of the entire Board of Trustees that we truly appreciated her perspective on different issues. And she was not shy in giving us that perspective. And we thank her for that, and we'll do so in a formal manner. To the fellow trustees, I know this has been a long day, and I thank you so much for all the work that you have put in. That ends my report. So is there any additional business at this point in time? If there's no additional business, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Trustee Cole,
Aye.
trustee Corbill,
Aye.
trustee Andre Johnson,
Aye.
trustee William Johnson. Trustee William Johnson, you're on mute.
I know. Yes. Aye.
Trustee Lewis,
Aye.
trustee Martin,
Aye.
trustee McKenzie,
Aye.
trustee Pinnick,
Aye.
trustee Walker.
Aye.
9 ayes.
Okay, so that motion